Hey there, everyone. Anthony Rios, the Healing Shaman. I'm happy to share a little bit of time with you today. I want to talk about our relationship with our helping spirits because it's super important. If you've done the workshop, Meeting Your Helping Spirit, congratulations. Thank you very much for doing the workshop. If you have questions, post your questions inside the group in the community so I can help you as you move along. If you haven't done the workshop, I really invite you to give yourself permission, take the time to do the workshop. Listen to the two recordings first. The drumming is already there for you. All the instructions are there for you. There's a checklist that you have so that you can make sure you cover all your bases when you journey. So, one of the things about our helping spirits is that, well, just as the name says, helping spirit, that's what they're there for, to help us. But our job is to meet them first, to get to know them, to begin this relationship with them so that we can have them around when we need them, right? So, think of it as that person. You may have a best friend or a longtime friend that you can always go to and ask for help and guidance, get their view, get their opinion, get their advice, that kind of thing, right? Well, the helping spirits are similar, but the main difference between a helping spirit and our human friends who help is that the helping spirits are never going to tell you what to do. They're never going to say you should do this or you should do that. That's not their job. And they know that's not their job. The helping spirits are there to guide us, to give us information, but they know that we're humans living our human lives. And it's up to us to take the information that we get from a helping spirit or a power animal and to make the decision ourselves, whether to use that information or not. They're never, ever going to say, you must do this. Okay. So that's one of the beautiful things about shamanism and practicing this most ancient of spiritual practices is that the spirit world, one, it's enormous. The spirit world is enormous. There's so many beautiful, loving, compassionate beings out there who want to help you and help me. My work with shamanism for almost 30 years has been probably the most profound kind of spiritual connection that I've ever had. I didn't know this kind of deep spiritual connection existed until I came into the world of shamanism almost 30 years ago. So, our helping spirits want to help. And your job, if you're going to learn how to take the shaman's journey and learn how to journey for yourself, is to learn how to, one, prepare yourself to take the journey. Make sure you're rested, right? Make sure that you've got some time to do it. You know, the journeys that I do are about 15 minutes long. So make sure you give yourself 15 minutes and maybe 30 minutes if you're going to take some notes afterwards, things like that. But the main thing is make sure you're rested, right? You're not stressed out. If you've had a rough day and you're going to do this in the evening, wait, give yourself time to settle down. Do some breathing exercises. We've got grounding exercises inside the community that you can use. The 4-7-8 breath is my go-to for grounding. There's a 3-minute ground artifact in the community somewhere in there. I'll have to find the link for you. But there's a 3-minute grounding practice which incorporates that 4-7-8 breath. So all that is to say, make sure you're rested. Make sure you've got the least amount of stress possible. You give yourself the time to do the journey, 15 minutes, and then some time afterwards to process the information that you got, right, that you received during your journey. And do it at different times. Some people have better results in the morning, some in the evening, some midday. Find what works for you when you start to practice your journey work and take journeys for real, right? All the journeys are for real, right? I tell people you practice your journey, all of the journeys are real. And then on this particular, in this particular workshop that's inside the community right now, Meeting Your Helping Spirit, for those of you who've never done this before, give yourself the time, right? It may not happen on the first journey. It may not happen on the second or third journey. It may take you 4 or 5 journeys to really meet the helping spirit where you know deep inside that that is your helping spirit, right? And I always tell people, the right helping spirit will show up for you. And it may be multiple spirits, but we're starting with one. We're starting with one. So all of that is to say, give yourself permission, right? We live in a world where we want things right now, right? Amazon screwed that up for everybody. Now you can get stuff the same day, right? Our world has its own rhythm. The spirits have their own rhythm. Our bodies have their own rhythm. So don't expect this immediate gratification right now, right now, right now. Okay? It's not healthy. That's a whole other conversation, but it's not healthy. Okay? So it may not happen on the first journey, may take you 2 or 3 journeys, may take you 10 journeys before you meet that helping spirit. And then the doors just bust wide open, right? So give yourself permission. You're not doing anything wrong, right? If you just follow the method, follow the steps. Okay, I promise you, you're not doing anything wrong. Part of the problem I find for a lot of my students is that we're so ingrained since children about you got to do it this way, you got to do it that way, you got to do it, and it messes us up, right? Is there a proper? Is there not a proper way? Is there a way to do the shaman's journey? Yes, there's steps. One of them is being rested. One of them is not being all stressed out. One of them is learning the steps. One of them is covering your eyes. One of them is having your intention. One of them is listening to the drum or the rattle, right? One of them is to have an opening into the earth that goes down. Those are steps, right? Follow those steps. It's going to work for you, right? Have a clear intention. If you want to ask a question, but a question about yourself. A how question, who, what, why, those kinds of questions about yourself. And it's really important when you're beginning your work in shamanism is to know that this is about you. This is about you. Later down the road, if you work with me longer and you learn about healing other people, those are advanced practices that we do and methods that we do to heal other people. And we get into the big conversation about ethics and shamanism and ethics and how we work with people and ethics and how we deal with people, right? But at the very beginning, the ethics that you need to be aware of is how you treat yourself, right? How do you treat yourself? Because for you who are just beginning your path of the shaman's journey and shamanism, it's all about taking care of yourself. All right, start with you. The spirits already know this. The spirits already know this. They know exactly where you're at. Okay, so all of this is a roundabout way to say if you haven't done the workshop yet, meeting your helping spirit, get in there and do the workshop, and then ask me questions about it. So what else do I want to say? This is really all about calling in spirit. Meeting your helping spirit is all about calling in spirit, and we learn how to call in spirit regularly, with intention, on purpose, right? As I say in the workshop materials, when we journey, we go on purpose to non-ordinary reality, into an altered state of consciousness, and then we come back, and then we come back into our everyday ordinary life, but we have new information. Maybe we have some answers we were looking for. Maybe we have some guidance that we were looking for. So get in there, do the workshop, meeting your helping spirit. If you have, there's that. And if you haven't done the 14-day sacred healing journey, go in there, do the sacred healing journey, learn how to ground. If you're not familiar with grounding or your grounding skills are rusty, go in there and do some grounding. Okay, that's it for now. Thank you very much for being part of the Shaman's Journey community. I'm always excited to share with you what I know as we move forward in the times that we live in. We need all the help that we can get. We need all of the help that we can get. And one of the things about the shamanic practices for me is that it keeps me very grounded. It keeps me very aware of myself, of my body, mind, and spirit, and keeps me very aware of how I walk in the world. And if that's something that resonates with you, we can talk more about that. But it's really important in the times that we live in, the world that we live in, that you know how you walk in the world. Okay? So I'll just leave that. There's a very beautiful, profound conversation that we can have, a dialogue about that. But in the meantime, get over there, do the workshop, meeting your helping spirit, go back and do the sacred healing journey material, and we will talk some more. Anthony Rios, the Healing Shaman, thank you very much for being part of this journey. And I'm just humbled and honored to walk this path with you. All right, we'll talk again real soon. Bye now.